So, my dear Libra, the Earth has continued its path, and now you get the light from the Sun, which is in the constellation Scorpio. And Scorpio is that huge transformation ruled by Pluto, the mystic and the shadow side, because only in the shadow we recognize that there is maybe something quite mysterious happening out there. And so the moon as well has made its path around the earth, and we see behind the moon the constellation Libra. So justice, which is your higher spiritual connection, right? For Scorpio, this is his higher spiritual connection. You really want to be just. You really want to be in the equilibrium, because you also have the fall equinox, right, in your month. And so it's a natural thing that the equal day and the equal night is something that is like almost embedded in your DNA. So here you are sitting on your throne, ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about beauty and love, but also money. And so the 8th house of reincarnation with the 7th house of relationship are bringing here very interesting aspect to this reading. Now I place you to the right again. You had last time your new moon, Libra Sun and new moon and the ring of fire, and that one I was reading to the left, because to the left means the spiritual path back to yourself, where you have sun and moon both in your sign. You have no distraction. Right now you have the sun here in Scorpio and the moon in your sign, right? So there is an influence from another sign. And then now you going back out again into your full moon next year in the month of Aries, because Aries is your opposite sign, and that's where we have the spring equinox. And the path out to the right is the path to that glorious I show myself, to the outer aspect of who I can actually integrate, which is Aries, which is the opposite. And the more I integrate that within myself, I be more and more able to really be in my harmony and in my balance. Here for Scorpio, I put the yoga position, Scorpio pose, and of course we put the feet above our head and we transform and we transcend the ego. And for you, I put you into a squat, and in that squatting you hold yourself on your tiptoes in front of your heart. You're holding your own scale, and the sword is actually letting you know you want to have a clear thought, clear thinking, and that's when you are able to be right connected with a higher force. So this is just sun and moon that is today influencing you, because I really do the reading on the day when the moon is in your sign. And in that, the reading is very special, right? Once a year only you get this constellation. But if we actually include all the other planets in their positionings, it's once in a lifetime moment. Your court card is the Queen of Swords. You are brutal in the way you are intellectually take people apart, finding where their ego is still sitting and cutting it off. Is your birthday between September 12th and October 12th, then she is your court card. Back to the last reading where you had that very special moment, right? The new moon is where we plant a seed, where we recognize, okay, here I have arrived. The message was 9 times 1 completion comes when you think, speak, and act with love. And you see that we go this way. We go to the left because the error is now indicating that. But you also got already that the next reading, which is today, a new beginning outward is starting. Look at that. And you had, of course, the Ace of Cups in the center. So that thinking and speaking and acting with love is quite a beautiful message that you got last time. On the position of the call, or the calling, which is here the Judgment, the number 20, we have the Lifruma Healing Oracle. And I connect with this because it has the rune alphabet in it, and this is the card that is talking to you as a call. You have Ule. The number 68 plus the 20, right, is then an 88. And so you get a portal. So the call is that there is a portal here for you. And of course, just the 68 calculated together, we get the 14, and the 14 is Temperance, which is next month, Sagittarius, already indicating something is gonna happen here in the calling, right? The calling is going to the next month, to the next reading. And so the 14 then becomes the 5, which is the 5 senses, the 5 elements, right, that are challenging us all the time. Now the 88 then is a portal, and I will not calculate that together, but 88 calculated together is the 16, right? And the 16 is the tower, and then out of the tower comes the 7, the new consciousness that arises out of letting go. So I'm gonna read you here Ule or owl or the senses, right? Like I said, the 6 is the sixth sense, and the 8 is the star that is the earth star that is above our head. And so this card is saying omen of astral shadow boxing, shape-shifting night ruler. Owl heralds prophecy from beyond this place, so wake up. Pause, be totally still, move not a muscle, and tune into the rustlings of the night. Adjust your perception and see, hear, smell, taste, reach, and feel with your inner owl wisdom. What's there behind the hoot? Wow. So very clear, very strong, very powerful. You are called to be quiet, called to listen what Scorpio wants to tell you. And Scorpio is, right, that intense moment. And today is the 11/11 portal as well as the day, right? And today you have also an 11/11 portal. Today is the 11th of November. And so it's a very beautiful sign that you're getting here now, an 88, right? It's almost like saying, well, do you know that you have your earth star above your head? So we continue the reading, and we're gonna go through the steps of the major arcana, and we begin, of course, on the position of the Fool. That foolish idea that is letting you know, well, now go out again, because as you can see here, the wolf is showing you that that energy needs to go to the right, while the child is innocently just plucking this one fruit and is facing the left, the soul. And here comes, of course, from the Visconti Sforza Tarot, the moon. And the moon is Pisces. And Pisces is, of course, deep waters, deep energies. And here in the Visconti Sforza Tarot, right, when you think about it, it comes out of the 15th century. It says that in the mythology, the moon was Diana, the hunter, and she was also the goddess of fertility. In the moon card, we see her disconnected from her twin sun god Apollo. And so here we see the new moon, how she is holding it up and how she is actually showing you that when you reach the infinity, then you have, of course, a trump in your card, right? This card means that you are then wanting to be part of infinity. So, very clear, right? Is here a message letting you know that you are understanding that the 18 is again an 8 inside, but also the magic of that infinite reach of being an infinite being. And so I think then the 9 is left, right? That you are reaching for completion, and now the path out is almost like evident because you had your new moon and the ring of fire back then. The moon was pushing itself in front of the sun, and so you see how the child and her body are facing the left and the dog is facing to the right, and it's that move outward. Now, the Fool is connected with Uranus, and Uranus is, of course, always that moment where we want to begin something completely new. Then on the position of the Magician comes the Council, the 11. And so with the 1, we have 3 times the 1, right? You are the 11th card. And so here the Council is literally talking to you. You see the new moon here, and here is the moon. And it's almost like back then there is a very important message in that reading, because 9 times 1, the 9, right? And here comes again 3 times the 1. We begin to recognize that there is an interconnection, and that you should really look into how you think, how you speak, and how you act with love. Because the Council is love, right? And you can see that. Now, since this is an oracle card, I wanted to see what the tarot is saying, and I picked from the Mother Peace Tarot a card, and it's the Emperor upside down. And the Emperor here is Alexander the Great, who was like forcefully taking land and people and everything that you can think of like an emperor does, right, in the most negative way. And because it's upside down, I feel like the Council is literally saying, liberate yourself from this kind of thinking, because Scorpio is the 13th major arcana, and 13 turns into 4. So the 4 is coming, and it's saying, let go of thinking that he can control things and that he can manipulate things, and that he's accepting from the Council, the 11, the aspect of love, right? And it's really like something happened to you back then, and that is your opposite sign, the Emperor, right? It's almost like now you have to go out, right, to your opposite sign again, and you have to go that path with love and accept Aries as your opposite sign. If you fight it, right, then it's not gonna be good for you, because it's important that we understand that the Emperor sometimes, yes, does negative things, but here he came up upside down, and so you're getting a very beautiful message. Now, the Magician is connected with Mercury, and Mercury is, of course, bringing you the language and the consciousness to understand the message here, right? And so here talks the Magician to you and brings you 3 times the 1 already. Then on the position of the High Priestess, comes the Princess of Swords. And she is the princess of the rushing winds. And the Princess of Swords are all air signs, right? So it's Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And what's interesting is that here you are recognizing something in the council that is speaking to you deeply, even into your childhood already, because the 2 and the 3 creates again a 5. And this is what came up here, right? The owl is that messenger and always connected with the swords, right? So the Queen of Swords always has an owl, or the King of Swords has an owl. And so this message is very clearly, very strongly here then a 5-5 with these two, right? Because the 2, the intuition, being in the center of the duality and knowing that you can trust your intuition since your childhood is important, is coming up here, and that the council is helping you with this 5, because the 5, like we know, is of course always that test, is the 5 senses that are sometimes pulling on us, right? And we don't understand that the 6th sense, the 3rd eye, is bringing us the deeper message. On the position then of the Empress comes the Wheel of Fortune, which is the 10, and it came upside down. And the interesting part here is the 3 of the Empress and the 10 creates a 13, and the 13 is Scorpio. So there is again a 4 coming, and the 4, like we know, is the Emperor, but the Emperor came upside down. I'm just going to show you this picture. I really love these cards. Here the Emperor sits and crosses his legs and crosses his arms, and you know, is quite, intense. And so the reverse is saying, well, yes, trust that something is leaving, because this is where you have to go again. This is what gives you the light, is the Emperor, right? The Emperor is your opposite sign. And so now the path out there, you can take it because he came upside down. And in that upside down, there is a lot of love that is talking to you. Now, this is upside down as well. And so recognize that here the 4 and the 10 creates the 14, Sagittarius. Let go, right? Be the love. And then the 5 comes up again. And so the 5 is very clearly talking to you, and you give birth to a new state of consciousness, right? The reverse. The wheel is spinning, and you are recognizing that, and you are seeing that the 4 here is letting you know things are leaving, and now I can go out again, right? Express myself out again. Then on the position of Justice, which is in the moon, right, comes here the 8 of Pentacles, and that's connected with the constellation Sun in Virgo. And Sun in Virgo we had in September, right? And so maybe there's a message in that reading, and you know you've been working really strongly on your skills, right? And you see how you have like a very beautiful pattern here, and you are successful, you're mastering what you love to do. And the moon is that inner consciousness, the subconscious, right? Which is always connected to the higher consciousness and your feelings. And so you are recognizing here that the 8 is giving you then 3 times the 8, an 888 portal. And there is, of course, an 8 in the moon as well, which then, of course, becomes the 9, right? The 18. But recognize that the numbers are clearly talking to you, and that you are seeing here that the 11-8 here is clearly helping you. If I would, of course, calculate together, we get the 19. And the 19 is the clarity, the sun, the empowerment through the sun, and the 19 is the 10, right? So the 10 is that new cycle. The 10 is, even though it's reverse, the Wheel of Fortune, the expansive energy of Jupiter, because Jupiter is always saying, hey, let's go out, let's do this. And of course, Sagittarius next month is ruled by Jupiter. Then on the position of the Queen of Swords comes here the Hierophant, a Taurus energy, and also a teacher that is actually letting you know here the 5, right, is actually the spiritual message. The 5 that we understand here in the High Priestess and the 3 air signs, the young generation, or you, when you were younger, you already knew quite clearly there was a spiritual energy and you asked yourself those questions. Now here we have 5 and 7, because you're the 7th house of relationship, creates a 12, and the 12 is the Hangman. You in the pre-stage of giving birth to the Empress. And the Empress is that powerful energy that brought you here, the reverse of the Wheel of Fortune. That things, even though they seem like upside down, it's okay. It's the path, right? Because that's what planets do. They spin and they turn, and even our Earth is spinning and turning. We're hanging upside down into consciousness, right? Into the universe. And so either there is a Taurus here that is guiding you and is helping you and is with you, because this is the center of the reading. And we have above Taurus the 5 here, right, of the High Priestess and the young generation of Swords. And so, yeah, you always maybe had a Taurus in your life, a friend, a sister, a brother, right, or a parent. And so you can rely on that because it's very grounding. It's really good for you to have a Taurus in your life, because they're quite letting you know, hey, you know, sometimes we gotta also be here in this dimension and work. On the position of the Death card, Scorpio, comes Radha. And Radha are like the Princess of Swords, the 3 fire signs, Aries and Leo and Sagittarius. And so we have the 13 plus the 3 of those 3 zodiac signs. We have the 16, which is the Tower, right? And I said here we had, if we would the 2 8s calculate together, also 16, and then the 7 is left. So know that the 16 is literally saying, well, certain things need to go because it's important that it's leaving, that you understand that here Radha is the wife of Krishna. She plays the flute. She is actually creating with the wand something that is quite extraordinary. And so in a way, the path to Aries is filled also with music and song and healing and shift and mastery and understanding that you're on a path right out into a transformation. Now I'm going to show you the Scorpio Death card from the Golden Dawn Tarot. I have listed all the cards that I'm using here down below, as well also, of course, the dates of the court cards. So here you can see you are called to go out, play the flute, be happy, enjoy whatever transformation you have gone through, and really embody now something new, right? Because you had the 3 sword signs, the air, right, which is masculine, and now you also have the 3 fire signs, which is also masculine, right? And so recognize here comes a new generation that is inspiring you to act and to do something that is also worthwhile for them. Then on the position of the moon comes the oracle card. Here, the sky dancer, the surrender into the 48. Now we have the 18 and we had the moon here on the Fool. And so something is clearly saying, hey, start dancing, start enjoying yourself, because the 48 is the 12, and then the 12 again, the Hangman. You're just almost there, because the 12 is the pre-stage to 13. You're almost there to really shift into a really high consciousness, right? And then the 12 becomes the 3. The 9 and the 3 again is the 12, and the 12, the 3 is left. So we have a 3 here. Now I wanted to see what the Mother Peace Tarot says, and the Devil came up. Now recognize that yes, the Devil is attachment to a hierarchy, to a system where he placed himself on the step 5, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course the 5, we know we had the 5 coming up twice, right? And so that you recognize the struggle that this hierarchy is actually imposing on you. Sometimes we have a hard time to accept that the social status exists in this dimension, right? The number 15, the 1 and the 5 in here, which creates together a 6. The 6 and the 3 is a 9, and that's the completion that comes up here, right at the beginning. In your mind, you want to understand the completion, right? The moon phases, the emotional sides that we are learning, and the subconscious mind. And so it's actually saying, well, you are now liberating yourself from something that can imprison us, but it's not an outer force, it's something deep within you that is making you do that, right? So recognize that, because you're getting the 9 here, and so it's not gonna be be like, oh, here I am and I cannot handle it. There is a completion in it. On the position of the Sun, which is in Scorpio, the Sun is letting you know, hey, then the sky dancer, the 48, there's an 8 as well, right? The 12 and then the 3. And here we get the 25, the 7. And of course the 19 is the 10, it's a 17, and 17 is actually the star, and the star is where Pluto is going next year into Aquarius. Right now Pluto the mystic and the shadow side is still in Capricorn, in the Devil. And so recognize very clearly that things are talking to you for next year, because 2024 Pluto is going to be in the sign Aquarius, and we're going to see a huge shift. And you are recognizing that already, because the 17 then turns into an 8. And the 8 is actually giving you then here again 4 times the 8, because you had another 8 here with the 8 of Pentacles, the mastery, right? You're going to recognize the mastery. You're going to see, yes, things are shifting, and you are seeing that next year you're going to feel that, because Aquarius is in here as well. So there's a young generation that is inspiring you to do the right thing. Now I wanted to see what the Mother Peace Tarot is saying here as well, and here came the Princess of Daughters, but upside down. Now you have, of course, the Princess of Swords, all 3 air signs. You have Radha, all 3 fire signs, and now you have here all 3 water signs. And the Daughter of Cups is sitting at a waterfall with a turtle who gives her the cup. and she's bathing, and she is allowing herself to flow with the waterfall. Now, upside down, it's almost like you cannot believe that you can really celebrate yourself. It's almost like there is something, right, that is holding you back. There is something in your subconscious, because it came up on the position of the moon, right? There is something holding you stuck, right, in that social status, in that climbing, in that concept of power that has steps to climb up. And so here you almost like not open enough to receive that on an emotional level. So recognize that. Allow to really celebrate yourself. And so the 3 zodiac signs here, right, with the 17 is then the 20. And the 20 came up here. The message, overcome that. Be still, look deep within, and recognize that you're getting the message. But I can also calculate here the 17 to an 8, and then the 8 and the 3 is an 11. So here you are, right? The 11 major arcana. The 11 is important because you are the 11, the 1-1, the portal. And so you recognize you can either choose the 20 or the 11 here, and see what works for you, because I can only just explain you what's happening here, but you're gonna fill in the blank. And now the last card comes on the position of the universe, right? The Emperor. The Emperor came here upright, and she's looking at her, and she's literally saying, yes, I want to celebrate. I want to enjoy myself. And so the 21, right, creates a 3, and the 3 and the 4 is the 7. And the 7 is, right, when we calculate the 88, the 16 is then the 7, is the success. True success comes to those who really believe that they can make a difference, who really believe that they, with their joy, right, with their voice, they are speaking up and they're showing to the world there is a positive side to the Emperor. And you did let go, and you have now the path to the Emperor where you get your full moon again. It's inevitable that he is already here saying, well, let go of all the negative sides of the Emperor and reach the Emperor and see that you want to embrace the Emperor in your life. And that's where you're going to make a difference. And that's when you're going to have your full moon, right? In the month of Aries, you're going to have your full moon. And that's the path outwards into the light, into showing what you have integrated deep below in your feelings, in your subconscious, and integrate then the young generation and not think that you are not worthy, right, of that. You are worthy. You are showing to the world that you are wanting to make a difference, and so make it. I hope I see you in the next reading, because the 14 came up here in the prophecy, here in the owl, in the 6 senses or the 6th sense. And you recognize, of course, that the 14 then becomes a 5, and you need to go into the 6th sense to recognize what is happening here. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.